techniques. Okay? So class, medyo quick lang tong separation techniques ha. Intro lang to bago tayo mag-crom later. So here we will go over classification of separation techniques and recall, meron na tayong extraction lesson class from lab bridging. Okay? So guys, start tayo mag-define ng goal ng analytical separation. Ang goal ay to isolate either the analyte or the interferent from the sample matrix. So pag sinabing effective separation, this requires identifying at least one difference sa properties ng analyte and interferent. From the book of Harvey class, meron siyang summary. So ito ang kanyang list of separation techniques according sa kanilang basis of separation. So unahin natin ang size kasi very popular ito. Based on size, filtration, dialysis, size exclusion, chromatography. Ma'am, nag-discuss na kayo ng filtration nasa lab bridging. Oh, very good. So dapat naalala niyo yan. Based on mass or density, centrifugation. Nasa lab bridging din class, ang distillation and decrystallization. In our chem bridging, nag-mention tayo class na process na sublimation. Change in chemical state, precipitation, electrodeposition, buti class, katatapos na ng Anachem 6, makaka-relate kayo. Volatilization. And partitioning class, ang extraction and chromatography. O diba? Relate much kayo dapat class sa mga separation techniques na ito. So ang goal natin class, pag-separate ang analyte and ang mga impurities or interference. So class, bilang mga visual learners kayo, you will identify ano ang describe na separation technique here. Obviously, itong first one, based on size, ito class ay filtration. So this separates solids from liquids using a porous barrier. Ito class ang filter paper. O you remember, siguro class ng student pa kayo, ang ginagamit nyo na filter paper, yung Wattman number 1. Yun, di ba? Medyo coarse pa nga guys yung coarse nun. But if you will use other filter paper, nakakita na kasi ako natin ng very fine. Okay, so ginagamit natin yun for special types of filtration. Pero pag sa lab lang, yung kailangan lang i-demo yung filtration, okay na, yung Wattman number 1. Okay, so class, balikan nyo yung lab bridging, discuss ako doon na different forms or different different methods of filtration. Okay? Next, this separates small molecules or ions from macromolecules using a semi-permeable membrane. O class, may nakakaalam ba nito? So ito ang dialysis. I remember when I was doing my thesis, gumawa ko ng ganito class ng dialysis bag. Kailangan ko yun for my stability studies. Kasi gusto kong i-observe kung gaano kabilis yung pag-transfer ng ions from my dialysis bag going to the buffer, yung nasa environment no dialysis bag. May video clip kayo para maunawaan namin yung dialysis. Meron class, pero i-assignment ko na to sa inyo. Ipapa-homework ko na to sa inyo, lalo na kayo 1A, kasi mahaba na nga itong video natin on Analytical 7. So here, you will be able to connect dialysis, osmosis, and diffusion. Okay? Kung nakinapanood din na class, next. Ma'am, parang wala to dun kanina sa basis at sa separation technique sa summary kanina. Class, ito kasi ay based pa rin sa size. Okay? Ang filtration, dialysis, and size exclusion, they are all under sa basis ng size. Ito class, size and charge. O, diba? Andun pa rin. Meron pa rin size. Yun nga lang, may kasama ka din na charge. For sure, some of you nakapag-perform class nito sa biochem ninyo ang electrophoresis. Meron talaga akong video for this, guys. But again, medyo mahaba na yung video clip. Yung video na to ng crash course natin. Kaya, i-assignment nyo class to. Ito ang electrophoresis video natin. Okay? Next. So kung napanood nyo na. Next guys, based on mass or density, this uses rapid spinning to separate components based on density. Siyempre, centrifugation. O sa mga nakakita na ng manual na centrifuge, ito, kamukha nito. Weird lang to kasi nagbubungguan sila because of the big test tubes used. Pero may video clip kayo, siyempre, laging handa. So guys, please watch this video clip for how to use a centrifuge. Okay? Next, based on physical state. So this separates liquids based on differences in their boiling points. Alam nyo na to, distillation. O balikan ng lab bridging ha. Kung gusto nyo i-check ulit ang info on simple, steam, fractional distillation. Next, this separates substances that transition directly from solid to gas without passing the liquid state, sublimation. Next, ito naman class ay based on chemical state. This purifies solid compounds by dissolving them in hot solvent and cooling to form pure crystals. Diba dapat familiar to class sa inyo? Ito yung figure na pinakita ko during our lesson on recrystallization. Next, this forms a solid, a precipitate from a solution due to a chemical reaction or solubility change. I hope you remember sa gravimetric methods natin, ito ang in-emphasize natin class, ang precipitation. Next, this uses electric current to deposit a substance, usually a metal, like sa Anachem 6 natin, from a solution onto one electrode. Siyempre, electrodeposition. And of course, huwag yung kalilimutan class, ang basis nito, partitioning. Exact picture din mo galing dun sa extraction lesson natin. So class, ito ang liquid-liquid extraction. In fact, itong quick chapter natin on separation, nakafocus talaga class sa extraction. Okay, game. So meron tayong exercise muna class para ma-check natin kung alam nyo ang uses ng mga separation techniques na nireview natin class ng mabilis. So your mission here, to separate. O guys, example, meron kang sand with salt, or gusto mo lang i-separate ang blood, ang mga components ng blood. O yan na, yun yung mga real life na cases or scenarios kung nasa lab kayo. O game guys, case, basis, technique. First case, you need to remove sand from a saltwater solution. Teka lang, magkaiba ba ng size yon? Yes. So ang technique ay filtration. Next, you want to separate different proteins in a blood sample to diagnose a genetic or disorder. Ano kayong basis nito? Aha, alam ko na, size and charge. Kasi guys, iba't iba din naman ang amino acids present in protein. So they can differ in their size and charge. Therefore, electrophoresis to. Next, you want to separate blood plasma from blood cells. Ayan, minsan kasi ibang solusyon na pagbabaliktad nila to, akala nila yung second case, centrifugation. Hindi. So if you remember class, kung meron kayong bio-experiment before, yung plasma class, yung isa sa major components ng blood natin. So this is done by centrifugation. equation. Kasi magkaiba class ng density ang plasma from the red blood cells. Next, you want to purify a solid organic compound from impurities using a solvent. O diba, sounds familiar? Ito ang recrystallization. Next, you want to separate iodine from a salt-iodine mixture. Plus, dapat alam ng lahat na ang iodine nag-undergo ng sublimation. So kapag hinit natin to, yung iodine plus makakasublime. And then of course, yung salt may iwan. So effectively, you can separate iodine. Paano siya ma-recover para mag-solid ulit? I-deposit niya siya. Kasi sublimation and then deposition. And then guys, last na, isolate copper from a solution sa electricity, just like what we have in Anachem 6. So ito class ang change in chemical state, ang electrodeposition. O diba? Easy lang. So now, we move on class 2, extraction. May problem solving kayo, mama, no? Exactly. May problem solving tayo. Kung nakita nyo na yung equations in our manual. Class, pag sinabing extraction, we would like to separate something. May kukunin tayo from one phase to another. And in fact, guys, hindi lang extraction sa chemistry. Dapat ang naiisip nyo ngayon eh. Pag pumunta nga kayo ng dentist, di ba, meron din doon operation na tooth extraction. Bunot ng ngipin. Sa mga military operations, meron ding extraction na term. Di ba? Kakapanood ko yun eh. Kaya nalalaman ko itong mga ganitong terms. So class, here in our lesson, extraction would mean na ipapartition natin yung analyte between two phases, our organic and aqueous phase. And supposedly, kung organic solvent class yung gagamitin natin at organic compound yung i-isolate natin, i-extract natin, then it should be more soluble in the organic solvent than the water or aqueous solution. Okay? So guys, game, ito na nga ang extraction. So meron tayong dalawang immiscible phases, water and the organic solvent. Halamang may equilibrium pala dito. Yes. So we have KD wherein ito ay equal sa solubility or concentration ng compound or ng solute in the organic phase over in the aqueous phase. Oh, hala class, may equation. Hala ma, may KD. Mapag malaki ba ang KD, ibig sabihin mas soluble yung organic compounds sa organic phase? Yes. Okay, so we would like to have a compound na mataas guys ang KD. Meaning, if you extract it using an organic solvent, you will be able to extract it properly. Alright? So guys, meron tayong match this kaagad. Equations. So KD is our partition coefficient. D is the distribution ratio. Ano pinagkaiba nila ma'am? Actually, class same lang sila. Because here, extraction lang naman ay consider natin na mangyayari in our system. So in that case, partition coefficient will be equal to the distribution ratio. So it's either solubility or concentration. Ma'am, saan po galing yung mga equations na to? Galing lang sa book ni Harvey. Class, I hope it's okay na hindi ko na ipapakita ang derivation kasi it will really be too long. Sobrang long na class ng lesson na to. So, ang kinukuha class usually ay amount na pwedeng naiiwan sa aqueous phase or amount na na-extract into the organic phase. So class Q stands for fraction. O halimbawa, ang nakuha nyong Q ay 0.3 sa aqueous phase. Ibig sabihin, 30% ang naiwan sa aqueous phase. Therefore, 1 minus 0.3, 0.7 yung organic phase. Dahil dalawa na naman klaseng phases. So, 70% na ang na-extract into the organic phase. So, ma'am, itong equations na to, kailangan memorize namin? Yes. So, look at the denominator, pareho lang. BV org plus VAQ. So, that's our distribution ratio times the volume of the organic solvent plus the volume of the aqueous layer. And then, class, kapag QAQ, VAQ ang nasa numerator, pag Q org, DV org, yung term na may org. Okay? Ma'am, bakit may sub-1? Ibig sabihin, 1 or single extraction. And tinuro ko na class sa inyo sa lab na ang multiple extraction ay laging mas efficient than single extraction. So, pwede rin isolve yun. How many identical extractions is possible or is needed para class makapag-extract ng given amount ng compound? Ma'am, ibig sabihin po ba ng n identical extractions, pare-pareho, similar dapat, uniform ang amount ng organic solvent to be used in each step? Yes. If you will use 20 ml of solvent from the first extraction, dapat tuloy-tuloy yun hanggang sa last step. Kasi nga, identical extraction. Applicable ba ma'am to sa Q org? Actually, here lang sa QAQ. Alright? So class, para magamit natin yan, let's solve. A solute has a KD of 5 between water and chloroform. So nakakulay na class ha, yellow for our organic and then blue for the aqueous. You have a 50 ml sample of 0.05 molar aqueous solution of the solute at i-extract mo to ng 15 ml of chloroform. Number 1, how much solute is extracted into the organic phase? So class, you will just compute for Q org. So the equation is dV org over dV org plus VAQ. You will just substitute the values. O 1A, wala akong nilagay na answer dito. Kayo mag-compute ha. Homework nito. So everybody, this is number 1. Next, number 2. What volume of chloroform is needed for 99.9% of the solute to be extracted into the organic phase? Halamang volume ng organic solvent. Yes, V org naman class ang hinahanap. Now, it's up to you guys. Anong interpretation nyo dito sa 99.9%? So guys, you will just use the equation for Q org 1. So dahil 1 extraction lang to. dV org over dV org plus VAQ, you will just substitute the values. 1A, kayo ang mag-answer kasi hindi ko nilagay ang answer here sa slide. So make sure that you will solve this on your own. You can ask me during our live discussion. Okay? So very easy lang yan. Number 2, what volume of chloroform is needed for 99.9% of the solute to be extracted into the organic phase? V org naman class ang hinahanap. If you want to use Q org 1, so Gaano ba ma'am karami ang na-extract or i-extract natin? 99.9% daw dapat. Thus, your Q org should be 0.999 and then equate, o, di ba? Hanapin mo yung V org. Ma'am, pwede ba yung QAQ ang gamitin namin? Pwede rin, para isa lang ang V org. So, kung QAQ naman ang gagamitin nyo, ilan kaya ma'am ang naiwan pa in the AQ space? Therefore, that should be 0.001 is equal to your VAQ over same denominator. So, ma'am, kahit po alin dito, yes, basta makuha nyo yung V org na correct. Ma'am, ilang extraction to? Class, as you can see, one go lang to. One time, big time. Isang extraction lang. Okay, kasi yung multiple extraction, nasa number 3 pa. O 1A ha, isolve niyan. Next, identify the number of extractions required to ensure that 99.9% of the solute can be extracted. Ayan. Kasi yung number 2, aksaya, hindi yung practical class. Imagine, madami yung isang extraction lang. Gusto mo lang i-extract yung 99.9%. Dito class, ito, nag-iisip, practical to. So how many extractions ang gagawin natin if we will isolate 99.9%? Ma'am, how much po na chloroform per run or per step? Siyempre, yung nasa given, 15 ml. So class, use the big Q and then may raised to n. So ang hahanapin nyo syempre yung n. Okay, so 0.001 is equal to your quantity raised to n. O diba? Very easy lang guys. Kayang-kaya nyo yan. Okay, so 1A make sure to answer the problems I gave you here for 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so guys, very good. Now we're done with separation. So guys, welcome to our next chapter, chromatographic methods. So for our intro part, of course, we will look into basic concepts, types, we will look into column and planar chromatography, and then pati class optimization. Okay, so let's now begin with our introduction. Chromatography is a technique that separates the components of a mixture based on the differences in their rates of movement through a stationary phase carried by a mobile phase. So take note class, here we have two phases, stationary and mobile. This process of separating and carrying components through the system is called elution. So to further demonstrate class, yung dalawang phases. As you can see, meron tayong dumadaan na analytes. So we are separating these analytes. The stationary phase is the fixed portion. All right, and then the mobile phase, mobile, siya yung gumagalaw. Okay, and then of course, yung two components, they're being separated based on their interaction. Okay, sa stationary and sa mobile phase. In your manual, ito guys ang ating picture of the column. So column yan, and then of course, elution. Ito yung process ng pag-separate at pag-travel ng components through the system. So here, just like sa unang picture natin na gumagalaw, so you have components A and B. So ma'am, si A yung naunang na-elute. So A is your first eluting component, and then B yung pangalawa. So we have to study paano nasa-separate class ng chromatography ang mga analytes. So this is one technique for separation, itong chromatography. Kaya class, sobrang important talaga ng chrom as one of our instrumental topics. Okay? So now let's look at the definitions, state, function, and role. Okay, para class clear, no? Itong mobile and stationary phase. So the mobile phase is the fluid that carries the sample through the system. It could be a gas, it could be a liquid, depending kung gas chrom yan or liquid chrom. On the other hand, stationary phase, kaya stationary, it is fixed. It could be a solid or liquid phase that stays fixed in place. Okay? So ayan guys, ang kanilang definition at saka physical states. Function, we already know that the mobile phase moves to the sample through the stationary phase. The stationary phase, on the other hand, separates components based on their interactions with it. So Mitch, marami palang factors to consider. Yes, marami. Okay? If we will enumerate all, ngayon pa lang, papagod agad kayo. Maraming factors to consider kung paano klase separate, okay, ng chrom method natin ang mga analytes. Rule in separation, okay? Components move at different speeds based on solubility or affinity. Stationary phase, they retain or slow down components based on their properties. So, at the end class no, ng lesson natin, ang iisipin nyo, saan ba mas nag-interact well ang analytes? Ito ba ay nag-stay sa stationary phase or ito ba ay nag-elute kaagad with the mobile phase? So, we really have to study the components of the system and of course, yung analytes natin. Okay? So, class, ito na ngayon ang mga types ng methods. So, we have to go over the different types of chromatographic methods. So we have different principles kung paano natin sila kina-classify, but here we have planar and column. So under planar, we have taper and thin layer chrom, which we will deal separately later. Column chrom, we have gas chrom and liquid chrom. So obviously class, we have different figures, no? Different ang ginagamit natin na stationary phases sa mga to. And then of course may support, okay, iba yung lalagyan. Alright, so depende rin class kung anong study ba ang gagawin nyo. So you have to really think about it, whether it's planar or column. So depende sa format ng stationary phase, ano bang trip mo, ano bang suited in your analysis. Okay? Also, ito guys ang ating comparison ng planar and column. So we already saw earlier dalawang types ng planar, paper and thin layer. So class, don't worry, meron tayong separate na portion for this later. For column, so the stationary phase is silica or resin packed into a tube or column. So a while ago you saw yung old school na column. Of course, we will learn more about columns in GC and LC respectively. Mobile phase movement and planar chrom, they move by capillary action or gravity, and column chrom by gravity, pressure, or pumps, especially kung HPLC ito. So yan guys sa mga types, applications, Complexity, application, detection, may separate portion tayo mamaya dito, accuracy, and automation. So ayan class, ang clear comparison of planar and column chromatography. Class, as we go along naman the lesson, mas marirealize nyo itong comparison nila. So do not be stressed about this early pa lang. Baka tinatry nyo kasi i-memorize. Kailangan guys, sabayan nyo ako sa lesson, nagbabasa kayo, nanonood kayo ng crash course video, para mas tumatatak sa inyo yung mga key parts, especially class kung medyo maraming bago sa inyo, ha? Don't worry. So here class, meron tayong did you know? Alam nyo ba, sobrang useful class ng Chrome sa biochem. Chromatography is the top choice for scientists to separate proteins by using differences in size, charge, and water affinity. Chromatography precisely sorts proteins for research and medicine. From affinity to ion exchange and size exclusion, chromatography's versatile techniques help unlock biology's mysteries and drive pharmaceutical breakthroughs. O, bongga, di ba? For sure, yung mga nag-biochem, naalala ko na yung biochem lab nila. You remember class na nag-perform kayo ng mga experiments on chromatography. Isa na dyan ang gel filtration chrome. Okay? So kung meron kayong karanasan, experience, knowledge sa chrome, very good. For those naman na medyo limited, kaya class i-enrich natin yung knowledge nyo on chrome. Okay? So ito naman class ang another way to classify or categorize chrome methods. Kung kanina, based sa format ng stationary phase, pwedeng itong planar or column. Here naman class, this type of categorization or classification ay depende on separation principles. Each method exploits specific physical or chemical properties of the analytes to achieve effective separation. Nandito na class ang partition, chromatography, adsorption, ion exchange, size exclusion, affinity chromatography. O diba, ang dami. So depende class sa separation principle. So in the following table, you will find the different criteria nitong limang types natin based on separation principle. Okay, unahin kasi ng partition. For sure class, you are somehow familiar with liquid chrom, HPLC. Example yan ng partition chromatography. The separation principle is partitioning between two immiscible phases. Your stationary phase is liquid coated on solid support. Mobile phase, liquid. Analyte interaction, syempre partitioning or distribution. Elution method is when you change the polarity of your solvent or your mobile phase. Specificity, moderate. Okay, ng partition, liquid chrom. Adsorption chromatography class, of course, ang principle ito, adsorption. Okay, so ano to ma'am? Gas chrom. Yes. Okay, so we have solid adsorbent. Ito ay pwedeng silica or alumina. Mobile phase, liquid or gas. And then analyte interaction, adsorption and desorption, elution method, medyo similar. Changing solvent strength, specificity, low to moderate. A clear example of adsorption chromatography class ay gas solid chrom, GSC. So mamaya kapag nasa gas chrom tayo, isang type yun, i-discuss din natin later in GC. Next is ion exchange chrom. As you can see, may ionic na term, di ba? So electrostatic interaction ang principle. So the column is charged, packed with charged functional groups. Mobile phase, again, liquid, napansin nyo class, most of the mobile phase dito ay liquid. Analyte interaction, elution method, specificity, high. Okay, kasi class, specific eh. Specific dun sa ions na isa-separate mo. May example tayo later. Followed by size exclusion. Dito class, based on size, based on molecular weight. Okay, those molecules na bigger ang size, sila yung nauunang na-elute. Okay, and then naman, yung mga small, since they can pass through, nakakalusot sila class sa mga beads, okay, sila ay later pa na-elute. May example ka rin yan, syempre. May example din tayo later class. Affinity chrom. This is also being used in biochem. So this is based on specific binding interactions. Your stationary phase is ligand immobilized on solid support, so fixed on solid support. And then analyte interaction, of course, highly selective. Paano naging highly selective yan? Class, ano ba yung mga usual na pairs sa biochem? Yung talagang pare sila, para siyang lock and key na pairing. For example, enzyme, substrate, enzyme inhibitor, antigen, antibody. Yun, ang usual class magkaka-partner. Okay, here class in affinity chrom. Elution method, you change the buffer. Okay, and katulad class ng ion exchange, ang affinity chrom ay very high ang specificity. In fact, may mga nalilito pa nga, may nako-confuse, okay, between ion exchange and affinity chrom. Pero class, very clear, magkaiba ang kanilang purpose. Dahil dyan, may nahanap ako napakagandang, napakagandang illustration para sa dalawang ito, ion exchange and affinity. So this is ion exchange. As we can see, the negatively charged proteins are eluting first. Ayan o, yung red. Ibig sabihin, ma'am, yung positively charged protein nag-bind sa column. Exactly. So later class, in the portion of liquid chrom, meron tayong detailed discussion to differentiate cation and an ion exchange column. Okay? Next, again, meron tayong illustration for affinity chromatography. Or remember class, may specific binding na nagaganap between the target molecules and the resin in affinity chromatography. Class, para mas maging malinaw ang applications ng limang types of chrom based on their separation principle, meron tayong activity. Tatawagin natin what happened chroma. Very relevant. Let us determine the best method for each case. Game guys. Case 1. You are working with a protein mixture and you need to purify an enzyme that specifically binds to a known inhibitor molecule. Hala, may keywords. May keywords guys na specifically binds. Then you have enzyme inhibitor pair. Ano ang best method? Syempre, affinity chromatography. Alright? So guys, very easy lang. As you can see in this video, there is a specific binding between the target molecule and the nasa resin. Okay? Next, case 2. You need to separate DNA fragments of different lengths to estimate molecular weight. Ayan, class, molecular weight. So, the best method, class, tingnan nyo to. Kaya natin umulit yung video, ha? Yun. Okay, so ano to, ma'am? Ito class ang beads ng column. Okay, ulit siya. Oh, Class of first elute yung bigger size, and then yung moderate, yung medium. And as you can see, class, dahil porous yung beads, no, nakakapass through yung smaller sizes. So they are the last to elute because they interact pa class sa porous beads ng column, yung maliliit na molecule, yung smaller molecules. So obviously, the best method is size exclusion chromatography. Diba? So alam niyo na ha, yung case 1 and case 2. Next, case 3. You are analyzing charged amino acids in a mixture and you want to separate them based on their ionic properties. Guys, very obvious. No? Very obvious kasi ang mga amino acids, they can be charged depending on the pH. So class, meron tayong video here. Mamaya meron tayong in detail discussion ito. Boom! So may mga molecules po, may mga species po na nagbabind exactly. This is via ionic or electrostatic interactions. So obviously class, ito ay ion exchange chromatography. O, tatlo na ha. Next, case 4. You're trying to isolate a small non-polar phytochemical compound from a methanolic plant extract. So medyo simple lang class of case, not like the first three cases kanina. So the best method here is partition chromatography. Example natin, HPLC, high pressure liquid chromatography. All right, next case. You're detecting You're trying to isolate a small non-polar phytochemical compound from a methanolic plant extract. So napansin nyo class, medyo simple lang tong case na to. So the best method is partition chromatography, HPLC to be specific. So later, meron din tayong detailed na portion for high pressure liquid chromatography. Very easy. Next, case 5. You're detecting polluted gases in air samples. Oh, so ang magiging sample natin class dito ay gas. So the best method is adsorption chromatography. To be specific guys, ito ay gas solid chromatography. So later, meron tayong portion para dito. So we're done guys sa ating what half and chroma activity. O binabalik ko tong slide na to kasi meron na tayong mga examples kanina class ng column chromatography. So ma-mix yung limang categories based on separation principle, mga column chrom po yun. Yes. And then now, we will be moving on naman class sa specific parts ng planar chromatography. So ang didiscuss natin guys dito ay paper chrome and TLC respectively. Okay? Tingnan nyo guys itong comparison natin. So paper chrome, ang kanyang stationary phase guys ay cellulose. O everyone knows ng cellulose ay sugar. Ito ay polysaccharide, polar. For TLC, so the thin layer of adsorbent like silica gel or alumina coated on glass, plastic, metal cake. So guys, lumalabas yan ha. Pati yung kung saan ilalagay, ano yung format. So in Chemtech, I remember, nag-appear itong glass, plastic, metal. So ayan, pwede yan for TLC. Ma'am-Mitch, polar din po ba ang stationary phase ng TLC? Yes. Silica, SiO2, alumina, Al2O3. So mga polar substances to guys ng mga to. Next, mobile phase. Syempre, ang mobile phase ay less polar. So it would be any solvent or solvent mixture na less polar. Separation principle. So per paper, primarily partition. And then for TLC, primarily adsorption. Pag-detect ng spots, guys, marami eh. Marami tayong pwedeng gawin. Kung visual na, colored na agad yung spots, pwede na. Kung hindi naman colored, so organic yung compound, you can see under a UV lamp. And then pwede rin ang iodine chamber. Specifically, pwede rin class ang mga chemical staining reagents. I remember, nung nag-TLC ako before, no, sa thesis ko, ang ginamit ko class ay spraying method. So, in-spray ko with the reagent na ginawa ko, I can remember it, wait lang, methanol and sulfuric acid. Diba? So, meron talagang special spray for this type of chromatography na for TLC. Under the hood, syempre. And then, may next stage pa ngayon heating. So, may thermal with spraying ng reagent. So, ayan guys. And then resolution. So, class, kung seryoso na talaga yung experiment mo, for sure, TLC mo yan. Okay? Kasi class, when it comes to resolution, mas maganda, higher resolution ng TLC. So, sinasabi ko nga sa mga on-site sections, guys, kapag medyo hindi ka pa seryoso, kumbaga demonstrate mo pa lang yung skill, paper chrome. And for sure, class, siguro nung high school kayo, baka nakapag-perform na rin kayo ng paper chrome. Di ba usually with colored pens? Kasi nga iba-iba yung colors, iba-iba yung spots na makikita ninyo. So, pang bata yun. And then, pag seryoso na yung ginagawa, TLC na. Okay? And then quantitative analysis, syempre class sa paper chrome, more on qualitative lang yan. TLC, pwede. Okay, kung mag-perform yung class ng quantitative TLC, pwede. Common uses for paper chrome, ito class usually ay pang prelim lang to. Prelim identification of plant pigments, ayan, very common yan. Amino acids, naalala ko, experiment pa kami dati, yung amino acids na nagpo-purple with menhydrine, diba? So, to spark the interest of students on paper chrome. Inks, pwede rin. For TLC naman class, ito nga, sabi ko yung seryoso na to eh. So, ang purpose na class for purity checking, monitoring reactions. So, usually, tinatandem natin to with conventional colopro. You want to know kung yung mga fractions ba, magkakamukha ba sila, pagkasamahin ba sila, ipupul ba or hindi. Okay? So, yan class ang comparison of paper and thin layer chromatography. Now, let's watch this. O class ito ay paper, obviously. Ayan no. O ayan, akit na yung spot. Class, dapat yung solvent level natin below the spot. So, your spot will not be dissolved. Hala, laki ng spot, nagkakaroon ng tailing. Okay? So these are the components, guys. Yun, tapos na. O, ma'am, kailangan talaga may lid, may cover, of course. Kasi guys, pwede mag-evaporate yung mobile phase ninyo. So, ayan. So, via capillary action to ha, yung travel class ng mobile phase. Alright. Then before it reaches the top mixture to get it, then habang wet pa siya class, you mark with a pencil yung travel class ng solvent. If your goal is to also calculate RF. Okay? For TLC naman, or everybody look at this. So, you have a TLC chamber. So, you have three compounds now, A, B, and C. So, baseline is also the origin. Ayun, nag-travel na ang mobile phase. Oh, so meron siyang ganito karaming spots. Wow. Okay, so makakaarali ba natin yan yung pag-measure na yan? Yes. So we have to think class kung paano ba mini-measure yan. Kailangan i-consider natin yung RF. Alright? So class, before tayo dumating doon sa RF na portion, ano muna yung basic steps here in planar chromatography? First, spotting. A small amount of the sample, which is dissolved in the solvent, is applied near one end of the filter paper or TLC plate. Nakita nyo class, nakamarka, di ba? So that's your origin. Class, commonly we use capillary tubes para talagang thin lang, no? Konting-konti lang yung ma-deliver natin sa paper. There will be times na pag alam natin mababa ang concentration ng analyte in our solution, we can spot multiple times. However, huwag yung kalilimutan class to dry. Okay? Pagka-spot, dry. And then spot, dry. Para class hindi sobrang lalaki yung spot at ma-prevent ang tailing or broadening. Okay? So yan, important yan. Ang pag-load ng sample on your paper or on your TLC plate, spotting. Next, development. So you place the end, no, kung saan ka nag-spot sa solvent, which will rise, of course, yung solvent by capillary action, separating components by polarity. When the solvent nears the top, the paper or plate will be removed and you mark the solvent front. Okay, so mamarkahan nyo class, very, very lightly lang ng pencil. Okay? Ma'am, gaano katagal po yung development? It will depend class kung gaano kaliit or kalaki yung plate or paper ninyo. So kung nagsusubok ka pa lang, nagtatry ka pa lang, maliit lang muna. Okay? If you just want to test for the first time. And then kapag seryoso ka na, alam mo na optimize mo na lahat, ang solvent, ang pagtimpla ng solution, etc. Therefore, pwede ka nang magmalaki. Malaking TLC plate or malaking paper. So meron ako dating thesis mate, no? Ano siya? Amino acid. So laki-laki nung, yung buong Wattman, kasi laki talaga class, yung malaking filter paper talaga. Ganon. So na-imagine niyo ba kung gaano kalaki yung chamber niya? Laki-laki. Okay? So ang development classes can range from several minutes to hours. Depende talaga kung ilang oras talaga yan. At ang mahalaga, babantayan mo. Kasi pag hindi mo nabantayan, wala ka na makikita nga solvent front kasi nakatawid na doon sa kabilang side. O, diba? So development could be tricky. Kaya kailangan ma-manage mo siya. Paano mo siya babantayan properly? Okay? Next, detection. So kinuha mo na yung plate or paper na markahan mo ng solvent front. After the solvent evaporates, colored spots may be visible directly. Pero pag wala, pag colorless yan, organic yung compound, then it will require detection method. So ito na nga class, ang mga example ng detection methods natin. So UV lamp or UV light. So kung meron sa lab ninyo, you can observe there. Iodine vapor chamber. So may mga compounds kayo, so specifically organic compounds, may mga lone pairs, nagkakaroon kasi ng affinity with iodine. So magalay ka na ng konting iodine crystals sa chamber, lagyan mo doon yung plate mo, boom, magkakaroon ng yellow spots, yung mga organic compounds. Staining, nakwento ko na kanina. Thermal development, kung kailangan i-heat, okay, kasi para ma-trigger yung color. And then UV vis, another chapter na maklas natin, spectroscopy. Alright, so there you go guys. Ngayon, meron ka ng spots, na-determine mo na, na-detect mo na. Ma'am, gusto ko naman i-compute ang RF. Okay, RF or the retention. In other books, retardation factor. Retention or retardation factor is a ratio that represents how far an analyte travels on the chrome medium relative to the solvent front. The formula is distance traveled by the compound over distance traveled by the solvent. So class, tandaan, laging 0 and 1 ang RF values. A higher value indicates that it is a less polar analyte. Sumama with the mobile phase. But if you have a low RF or small RF, this indicates na more polar yung analyte. Why? Nag-spend siya ng more time with the stationary phase. O recall, ano po ang stationary phase ng paper crop? Di ba cellulose, papel, polar yon. Sa TLC, silica, polar din yon. O ganun pa dapat alam nyo yung nature ng stationary phase at ng mobile phase. So class, nasa manual ko, isolve natin. Given the chromatogram below, for the analysis of a pigment sample, calculate the RF of each analyte. So we have A, B, C, D, apat na analytes. Based on the RF values, identify the most and least polar analytes in the sample. So mamits to yung mga gagamiting sukat, no? 2, 3, 3.5, 5.5, yes. Then class, i-divide nyo lahat yan by 6. You can pause the video to calculate the RF values yourselves kasi walang sagot sa manual yan. But here, may sagot tayo. Kung kunwari class, nagpe-play na kayo ha, ibig sabihin na-answer nyo na. Okay? So class game. So kanilangan ko din ng brown at yellow for distinction. So class A, mukhang konti na inakit ni A. So ang kanyang RF 0.33. Isa lang ibig sabihin yan. A is the most polar analyte. So nag-spend siya ng more time with the stationary phase. Whereas D has an RF of 0.92. Wow, the highest. Meaning, nag-spend siya class ng more time with the mobile phase. So D is your least polar analyte. Ganyan. So mamit sa board exam, pwedeng may chromatogram? Pwede. Or pwedeng mag-interpret kayo based sa RF. So kailangan class complete yung knowledge nyo about this. Alright? So now class, punta naman tayo sa column crop. Ayan, meron tayong video clip. Ma'am, ano yan? So meron tayong tube glass, no? Ito yung old school column. Wherein, may silica na nakapack na yung column here. Of course, meron ng nangyaring packing beforehand, before tayo manood. Kasi, ang gagawin niya na ng class dito ay sample loading at saka elution. Okay? Then, meron siyang collect na fractions sa mga test tubes niya. So, later class, bago tayo mag-GC, bago tayo mag-LC, gusto ko, matutunan niyo muna lahat kung paano nagsimula ang column crop. So, this is our old-fashioned way na column crop. Ma'am, nakagawa ka niyan, syempre. Okay? Kasi, kinailangan ko class i-separate yung components ng rice bran oil na na-isolate ko from rice bran. So, I remember, sabi ng advisor ko, Mitch, mag-column chrome ka muna. Okay, before ka mag-monitor ng progress via TLC column. So column chrome followed by TLC and followed by the other techniques na. Alright, so everybody, let's watch this.
I'm now going to prepare my sample, and since I have some toxicity issues, now is probably a good time for me to wear my gloves. So if you have a liquid, you can pipette that directly onto the column. If you have a solid, the ideal thing is to use the same solvent that you're using for the column to dissolve it, but mine, I actually have some solubility issues. So instead, I'm going to use a small amount of dichloromethane to dissolve my solid. Now I'm going to use a long-stemmed pipette to add my sample to the column. If you ever notice that liquid drips uncontrollably from a pipette, you can withdraw and expunge it several times, and that normally causes it to be more controlled. So I'm now carefully putting that pipette atop the column, and I'm very delicately dripping in the sample. I know it's off screen right now, but I'm trying to get the pipette as low as possible, as close to the sand layer as I can, and I'm not dripping the liquid down the sides, but trying to drip it carefully, drop by drop, into the middle of the sand layer. I'm not squeezing on the pipette bulb and just shooting the liquid in there. If I do, I would cause a divot in the column, and that'll affect the separation. We use that sand layer to try to make sure that the horizontal level of the column stays intact. So after I've added my sample, I noticed that my vial still has quite a bit of residue in it, so I'm going to do a rinse. So I add a small amount more of dichloromethane and then use pipette to add that rinse to the column as well. Next, I'm going to open up the stopcock and allow that liquid to drain a little bit. I want to push the sample onto the column, like onto the white the white part now. So I'm going to let it drip down all on its own until it gets just past the sand layer and just to the very top of the white part. Next, I'll add some solvent to do a rinse, and I'll be, again, really careful about how I add this to the column. I'm going to drip the liquid down the sides, rinse it down the sides, and then I'll, again, open up the stopcock and let that drain until the liquid just goes past the sand layer onto the column. I can do it a second time if I feel I need to, and again, let it drain till the liquid is right past the sand and to the top of the white part. So now I want to add extra solvent to the column. And when the solvent level is so low and it's real near the sand layer, you have to do this carefully. So you want to add solvent with the pipette and just rinse it around the sides. And then eventually, once your solvent level gets high enough, you would be able to pour it out of the flask. And then at that point, you wouldn't be disrupting that column level. So you just want to fill up the column, even up into the bulb area, fill that up with solvent so that you won't have to refill while you're running the column. After all that prep work, it's finally time to elute the column. So open up the stopcock and let the liquid drain out into a test tube. When the test tube fills, move it over and collect the liquid into a different test tube. So that's called collecting fractions. And the goal is to collect different compounds in different test tubes, thereby separating them. And now, instead of just letting the liquid drain out at its own rate, I'm going to apply air pressure to the top of the column to push the liquid through the column faster. This speeds up the entire process, but it also makes for a better separation. And now I'm going to speed up the whole video and get through this a lot faster. I'm going to just keep collecting the fractions and moving the test tubes over to keep on filling one test tube after another. At this point, you can see that I've collected the yellow compound into the test tubes and I've separated it from the orange compound that's still on the column. If you do have something that's colored and you can see this kind of separation, when you're going in between the two, you might want to give the tip of the stopcock a rinse because sometimes there's splatter, and so that would have had the yellow stuff on that stopcock, and we might rinse that off before the orange stuff comes through. And I'm going to just keep collecting fractions until my orange compound has also eluted off the column. And do make sure while you're doing this to keep your eye up on the solvent level. You don't ever want the liquid level to travel lower than the sand level. You need that silica gel area to always be wet. So if it is getting a little too low, do pause the process, close the stopcock, and refill the solvent reservoir, and then continue with the column. After you've eluted the column,
Okay, class, boss ko na. Mahaba pa kasi siya. So, you have seen there the elution, no? Yung separation into fractions ng components niya. Kasi visible. We can see yung orange, yung yellow na colors ng class sa mixture niya. So, Ma'am Mitch, are you telling us na yun po ang basis na itong gas and liquid chromatography? Yes. Okay, yun nga, class. Here kasi din yung nakikita yung column. It's inside the instrument. Okay? So, class, tulad ng nakita niyong old-fashioned way na column kanina, column chrome din ang GC at HPLC. And these two, they differ fundamentally in the physical state of the mobile phase and the types of compounds they can analyze. So, class, later, discuss natin ang advantages and limitations ng mga methods na to. So here we have Perkin-Elmer GC system and itong LC system from Agilent. Okay, ayan class ha. So very popular ang mga high-end na GC and LC. So for those of you class na nakapag-perform ng experiment or ng analysis nila via GC and LC, congrats. Kasi meron agad kayong edge. However, wag malungkot yung mga wala pang experience kasi for sure class sa future jobs ninyo, baka meron na yan. Okay, so sa ngayon, gawin natin munang in theory. Kasi syempre sa exam, no, you have to know the concept, the principle before kayo mag-practice ng mga questions sa practice test natin. Okay? So let's take a look at comparison. So ito ang mobile phase, analyte state. Ayan. So kapag GC, volatile. Okay? And thermally stable class dapat ang analyte. In LC, okay lang na non-volatile. At okay lang din na thermally sensitive. O, diba? So kung ano yung hindi bagay sa GC, okay naman sa liquid chrome. Okay? Cap column type, mamaya may specific type discussion for this. Temperature control, speed, sample recovery. So class sa GC, no? Kasi syempre nag-vaporize na yung sample mo. So destructive. Kapag ang sample here class sa GC, applications, okay? Limitations, ayan. Kailangan ba ma-mix? Alam namin yung limitation ng GC? Yes. Kasi ito ay para lang talaga class sa mga volatile and thermally stable compounds. Now, if you want, kung merong paraan para ma-derivatize yung analytes mo para maging volatile, pwede siyang mag-GC. And then, of course, compatible class sa mass spec. Okay? So, yun ang run-through natin. Very quick run-through lang na comparison ng GC at LC kasi nga, meron tayong planar versus column chrome here sa intro natin. Alright? So, class, nasa last part na to ng first chapter natin here sa chrome, ang optimization. Ma'am, kailangan ba to? Class, huwag kayo ma-stress here. Okay, baka ma-stress kayo. Huwag kayo ma-stress dito. Kailangan nila talaga ng basic knowledge on how to optimize separations. A chromatogram is the visual output of a chromatography experiment. It shows how different components in a mixture are separated over time or distance. So, ayan, class. So, ma'am, ano po meron sa chromatogram na to? As you can see, detector's response. Depende kung anong detector ang gamit nyo. Kung yan ay spectro class, ito ay pwedeng absorbance. Okay? And then we have here time. So, time na sila kasi nakarating ng detector ninyo. So, here we have PM. Ano yun, ma'am? Ito class ang dead time or void time. Ito ay para sa mga non-retained solutes, meaning pwedeng impurities to class ng solvent. Okay? So, hindi yan yung analyte nyo. Very small peak lang yan. TR is retention time. Of course, property and class ng per analyte. So, your analytes must be resolved properly. They will have their own retention times. And then W here, with at the base peak. So, class, para kompleto, ito ang table for your chromatographic parameters. So, we have retention volume, retention time, void time. Siyempre, pwede mong i-adjust yan. Tanggalin mo, bawasan mo na dead time, retention factor, separation factor, resolution, o baka mag-appear. Ang resolution, peak width, height, and count. Yan. So, class, these last two are very, very important kasi this is about column efficiency. So, class, wag ma-stress sa reading homework nyo muna. Alright? Reading homework nyo muna itong mga optimization parameters in case hindi pa familiar sa inyo. So, class, pakitaan ko kayo ng version. Ayan, yun ang Mitchless version natin where bigger ang font sizes. So, class, meron tayong quick practice lang sa iilan dito na parameters. So, ma'am, kailangan memorize namin. Class, for now, gamitin niyo muna itong list na to. Okay, para hindi kayo ma-stress sa kaka-memorize. So, gamitin niyo muna. After all, hindi naman to lahat mag-appear. Okay, kaya nga, konting-konting practice na tayo sa calculation. Okay, game. Resolution muna. The resolution between two peaks, which is RAB, is a quantitative measure of the separation and is defined as, yan, ay ang formula class ha. So, TR, retention time. W, width at the base. So, B class, yung later pa mag-elute. Mauna si A. Parang yung figure kanina sa opening natin, A ang naunang mag-elute. So, class, take a look at their resolutions. Ay, ma'am, ayoko ng 0.5. Parang di naman sila naghiwalay. May overlap, di ba? Not completely resolved. Sa 1, uy, may konti pa rin mag-overlap. Oo nga. So, 1.5 class, yan. Actually, ang resolution, it is very good class, no? Very good na resolution ng chromatogram nyo, ng peaks, if it's more than 1.5. Matandaan nyo yun more than 1.5. So, practice tayo, class. So, let's solve this problem. In a Crom analysis of lemon oil, limonene, so one component yan ng lemon oil, has a retention time of 8.36 minutes with a width of 0.96 minutes. On the other hand, another component, gamma-terpenine, elutes at 9.54 minutes with a baseline width of 0.64 minutes. What is the resolution between the two peaks? Formula, please. And then, let's substitute the values, guys. Oh, ang bilis. Diba? So, class, the resolution is 1.48. Ma'am, di ba sabi nyo kailangan more than 1.5? So, hindi pa siya resolved completely. Hindi pa. So, you can still optimize. Diba? Kaya nga optimization parameter to. It can tell you kung good na yung separation. If not yet, then you have to modify some of your conditions. Kaya tinawag ito optimization parameter. So, siguro hinahanap mo yung perfect conditions. So, these two components of lemon oil will be completely resolved. Alright? Next. Ayan, column efficiency guys tayo. Imagine nyo na class yung column na nakahati into several plates. Mga imagination lang, kaya nga tinawag na theoretical plate. Okay? Each plate here class ay may role sa separation. And the more plates present, the more efficient your column is for separation of complex mixtures. Yun. So class, let's now discuss HETP. Ito yung tinatawag class na height equivalent to a theoretical plate. Sa mga old books kasi, meron pang ganitong term. Pero pwede rin tawagin na plate height. So this represents the column length required for one equilibrium step between the mobile and the stationary faces. Class, ito ang way natin to compute N. So N is equal to length over height. And class, kagaya nga ng sabi ko sa opening ng slide na to, the higher the number of plates, mas na po ng plates, yung N. So N is the symbol for the plate count as the number of plates increases. And as the height decreases, lumiliit yung height, the more efficient class ang separation. So, ma'am, gaano karami yung plates? Libo-libo. So, normally class, thousands of plates are present in one column and the goal is, dapat maliit na class yung height, mga ilang pulgada lang dapat. Okay? Mami, pa-practice kayo dyan, syempre. Everyone, in the Crom analysis of the chlorinated pesticide dieldrin, it has a peak of a retention time ng 8.68 minutes. Meron siyang width ng 0.29 minutes. Calculate the number of theoretical plates. So, game. And calculate the height of a plate if the column is 2 meters long. Length yan, obviously. So, class, ito ang ating mga equations. So, N is equal to 16 quantity retention time over width squared. Pag nakuha nyo na class ang plate count na N, transpose nyo lang para makuha ang height. O, game ha. So, class, ayan na. So, ito na yung retention time. And then na rin ang width. And tada, 14,300 plates. Ma'am, bakit naka-round up? Naka-round off, sorry. Naka-round off talaga siya class kasi ganito siya i-report sa books. Okay, nearest 100. So, 14,300 plates. And then, height is equal to L over N. Ma'am, paano? Class, ang weird naman ko, ang unit natin ay meters. Eh, malit lang yung height, di ba? So, i-convert natin yung class to mm, 2 millimeters. O, ha? So, 2 meters divided by the number of plates na 14,300. Cancel, cancel. And then, huwag kalilimutan, ang ating conversion factor na 1 meter, 1,000 millimeter. O yung iba dyan nagpapanik. Kaya sobrang simple na conversion, huwag tayo magpanik, guys. So, if you do this, 0.14 millimeter. O, di ba? Sobrang liit lang nun. Yan class ang plate height. Okay? So, yan class ang parameters natin to assess or evaluate column efficiency. And again, ang goal ay marami ang number of plates, higher N and smaller H. Yeah, so guys, we're done sa basics. Okay, basics pa lang ng Pro. Now, we will dive into GC and HPLC respectively. Alright, so guys, pareho sila na types muna and then instrumentation. So, lahat ng mga key parts, didiscuss natin. Alright, so guys, meron muna tayong video clip para ma-arouse sa inyong interest on gas chromatography. Let's watch this.
To perform gas chromatography, often called GC, we use a gas chromatograph. A gas chromatograph is an instrument with a long column filled with small particles coated with a very thin layer of an adsorbent. This layer is the stationary phase of the column. Helium runs through the column and is the mobile phase. A sample injected into the gas chromatograph is instantly vaporized in a heated injection chamber so that the components are in the gas phase, and then it flows through the column. The helium is the carrier for your sample. This technique allows us to separate volatile organic compounds based on their physical properties and determine relative amounts of product yields. Coupled with a computer library, GC can also be used to identify organic compounds.
To run a GC, you first need to prepare the sample for injection. Using a small syringe, collect between 1 and 5 microliters of the sample in the syringe, followed by 3 to 4 microliters of air. Be sure that your sample is free of drying agent to avoid clogging the syringe.
Once the sample is loaded into the syringe, insert the needle into the GC injection port. You will feel resistance as you insert the syringe. Continue to insert the needle through this resistant material, called the septum, until the glass is flush with the injection port. Be careful not to bend the syringe. You can now inject your sample into the gas chromatograph. When you inject your sample, make sure to promptly plunge the syringe without bending it. It is necessary to ensure that the entirety of the sample is injected at one time.
At the same time you inject the sample, turn on the chart recorder. Make sure it is recording by checking the chart paper feed. If there is no paper or the paper jams, contact the TA for assistance. Wait until the entire sample has run through the column.
While the sample runs through the column, clean the syringe that you used to inject your sample. Pull a solvent such as methanol into the syringe. Then empty it into a waste container to clean it of any remaining sample.
When you are finished, turn off the chart recorder. Feed the chart paper to remove all chromatograms from the chart recorder. Cut with scissors.
Yan, di ba? Yung nga lang class, yung nasa video, medyo nasa more older. Medyo older lang na version ng class ng GC. For sure, for some of you na nakakita na ng mga kanya-kanyang systems na mga GC, MS, ganyan, sa OJT or sa lab ninyo guys, baka mas bago. Okay? So class, GC is a powerful analytical technique used to separate, identify, and quantify compounds that can be vaporized without decomposition. Di ba nga, kailangan thermally stable. So class, meron two types ang GC. GLC, ito yung mas common. Okay? Ito yung nasa video kanina, where the stationary phase is liquid film coated on a solid support. Separation is based on partitioning. While ang GSC, ito class yung hindi ganun to common, this uses adsorption principle. So meron itong adsorbent as the stationary phase and less commonly used dahil nga merong pigtailing and limited resolution. So ang gas solid chrome class, mas applicable to sa mga gases. You remember kanina sa what happened trauma, merong answer doon na adsorption chromatography. Yung sa pollutants ng air yun. Kasi nga ang sample ay gases. Okay? So class, ito na nga ng specific na mga criteria for judging ng GLC, gas liquid, and GSC, gas solid chrome. Let's take a look. So, okay na. Alam nyo na yung stationary phase nila from the slide a while ago. Partitioning, adsorption, type of column. Ayan. Malapit na guys tayo sa mga key parts. So, in gas liquid chrome, capillary. And then for GSC, pack column. Kasi class, ito, magka-partner yan. Itong separation principle and type of column. Mapatiba yung column, meron kayong video mamaya. Meron. Retention time. So, in GLC, shorter and more predictable. And gas solid, kasi nga adsorption to, generally longer due to strong adsorption. So, ang mga shape naman, so sharp and symmetrical for gas liquid chrome, good. Sa GSC naman, strong adsorption causes tailing or broadening. So resolution, reproducibility, application, di ba? Sabi sa inyo pang gases tong GSC. And of course, ang kanya-kanyang limitation. Okay? So kasi mga ganitong table na nagko-compare tayo, keep this in mind. Kailangan reading homework nyo yan. Kaya maganda class, while you are watching this crash course video, katabi nyo lang yung manual ninyo. So you can always refer kung ano yung tinuturo ko na galing sa manual natin. Alright, so now let's look into the key parts of a gas chromatograph. Sa second part tayo class ng chapter ng GC, instrumentation. So what are the key parts? So we have our carrier gas, we have our sample injector, ang column inside the oven, and detector. Okay, yung class ng components ng isang GC system game. So meron pa tayo dito actual. O class, baka kamukha nito yung meron kayo sa lab. So ito ay GC MS. Okay, so class game. So summarize natin. O class, hinighlight ko lang na itong dalawang key components na hindi nyo makikita later sa HPLC. So ang carrier gas, ito ang mobile phase ng GC. And then oven, so most HPLC kasi class, hindi naman need ng oven. So dito sa GC, sobrang needed ng oven. Kasi nga, may temperature. Kailangan ma-volatilize na ba yung mga analytes. So class, one by one, discuss natin yung mga key parts. Carrier gas system, your sample injector, column, oven, detector. So naka-highlight again yung unique para kay GC. Alright, so number one is your mobile phase, the carrier gas. Helium is the most commonly used carrier gas due to its inertness and compatibility with most detectors. Hydrogen enables the fastest separations, making it ideal for high-speed analysis. These gases also have low viscosity, and ang key property nila guys. The choice of carrier gas often determined by the needs of instruments detector. So class, you have to check yung buong analysis mo, ano bang detector ang suited for your analytes, for your separation. And you also have to check kung compatible with your carrier gas. So mga common carrier gases ay helium, hydrogen, nitrogen. Alright? Next, we move on to the second portion class. The second part, ito ang heart. Ito class ang heart ng separation, ang column. Everybody, para maunawaan nyo ang difference between capillary or open tubular versus packed column. Ito, magandang video clip to guys. Nakita nyo class meron silang figures to describe capillary versus packed column. Alright, so class, ito naman galing kay Skoog. So OT stands for open tubular, another term for capillary. So if you will compare class, boom, ang tataas ng number of plates, yung N, a while ago in our column efficiency sa parameters class. Efficiency, plates, ayan, 2,000 to 4,000, 1,000 to 4,000, 600 to 1,200, o diba? Matataas ang number of plates. So more efficient ang open tubular or capillary columns versus class sa packed column na 500 to 1,000 lang ang number of plates. Actually, yun na naman ang gusto ko intindihin dito. You don't need to look at the other parameters kasi yun na naman talaga class nasa optimization natin kanina. Okay? So aside from efficiency, meron ding length, ID, yung inside diameter kanina class. Alright? So yan ang comparison ng open tubular versus packed column. Let's look at closely itong dalawang columns natin. So class, ito ang packed column. Ito yung mas mababa ang number of plates a while ago. So the structure, tubes are packed with solid support coated with stationary phase. As you can see, ang kanyang common material sa picture natin, stainless steel, pwede rin siyang glass, inner diameter, typically 2 to 4 mm, length shorter, efficiency lower. Okay, low ang kanyang number of theoretical plates. Natin yung kanina sa class sa video. Sample capacity, yan, meron siyang advantage dito. Higher, it can handle larger sample volumes. Carrier gas flow, higher flow rates din. Resolution, moderate. Application, suitable for gases, lalo na class ito ay gas solid chrome, GSC, and large sample loads. O diba, yan ang kanyang mai-offer na advantages. As you can see class, mababa din ang kanyang detection sensitivity, broad ang peak. Diba, yan ang nagiging limitation ng gas solid chrome a while ago. Okay, next class, puntahan naman natin ang capillary or open tubular column. Iba. Diba, nasa manual din guys. So sharp peaks, define the peaks, high detection sensitivity. So take a look class, compare nyo lang ang structure, materials, inner diameter, length. So longer to and naka-highlight, more efficient to kasi higher ang number of theoretical plates, therefore better separation. Yun nga lang, konti lang ang sample na pwede mong i-load. And then class, ang resolution niya, high. Kanina pa na-note ito, best for complex mixtures and trace analysis. So of course, depende ulit class sa sample ninyo and sa nature ng gagawin yung separation kung anong column ang gagamitin nyo. Alright? So class, ito din naman to, kailangan ma-stress kayo dito ha, sa pagbabasa ng mga tables na to, mga examples sa class ng common stationary phases, ang kanilang typical application, and analyte. So, this is just for reference, just in case kailangan natin class. And then, syempre, polarity. Meron din tayong dapat idea, ano yung mga relative polarity class ng mga organic compounds. Okay? So, yan ang inyong reading homework. Yes. Next class, ang ating third component, sample injector. There are many ways on how we can introduce a sample to our column. However, meron dalawang pinaka-common. We call them split and splitless injection. Ano ito? Let's watch this.
Split versus splitless injection. Split and splitless are the two most commonly used GC injection techniques. How are they different? And which one should you use for your analysis? We'll begin with split injection, which is the most popular thanks to its versatility over a range of analyses. Inside a splitless inlet, you will find the carrier gas supply, the septum purge, the split vent, the liner, and the column. Now we'll start the gas flow and simulate a split injection. Let's rewind and go through what happened. First, the gas entered the inlet with a total flow of 104 milliliters per minute. A small amount, 3 mils per minute, passed through the septum purge to reduce possible contamination from the septum, while the rest continued onto the liner. A fraction of the gas, 1 mil per minute, flowed into the column, but most, 100 mils per minute, is swept away via the split vent. This ratio, the split ratio, is determined by the user before starting the analysis. Split ratios typically vary between 5 to 1 to 500 to 1. With the higher the ratio, the lower the amount of sample that enters the column compared to what passes out the split vent. During injection, the sample is injected into the liner and vaporizes. Since our example has a high split ratio of 100 to 1, one part goes onto the column, while 100 parts of the sample exit out the split vent. Now, let's look at an example of a splitless injection. In a splitless injection, the split vent is closed and left closed before and during the injection. As there is no split flow, the total flow is set at a dramatically reduced flow rate. Here, it's only 4 mils per minute. 3 milliliters per minute passed through the septum purge while the remaining 1 mil per minute entered the column. During injection, the sample remains within the liner for longer before entering the column due to the lower flow rate. Once sufficient time has elapsed after injection, the split vent opens to purge the inlet. This duration, known as the splitless hold time, is calculated to be long enough to allow the maximum vaporization and transfer of analytes to the column. So which injection technique should you use? It depends on the concentration of your desired analytes within your sample, the sensitivity of your detector, and any method requirements. Split injection is ideal if your analyte concentration is high enough to afford an on-instrument dilution and still meet required detection limits. The higher flow rates through the inlet lead to sharp, narrow peaks, while simultaneously reducing the time for adverse interactions to occur. However, since most of your sample is vented, your detection limits are much higher. While this can be problematic for less sensitive detectors, a detector with higher sensitivity, such as an ECD or an MSMS, help make split injection possible. But if your analyte concentration is very low, you may need to perform a splitless injection. Splitless injections excel at trace analyses. Since all the flow is directed to the column, you can transfer the majority of your sample. However, the slower flow rate into the column can result in the degradation of active analytes through adsorption and breakdown. It also leads to increased diffusion, causing band broadening. This is especially noticeable for more volatile analytes, resulting in wider peaks. While choosing the right injection technique for your analysis is essential, it's also important to optimize your injection parameters. This allows you to maximize both analyte transfer and injection-to-injection reproducibility. For more information about optimizing for split and splitless injections, visit our resources below or visit restech.com.
Alright. So, ayan guys, compare guys natin ang split and splitless injection. So, nakita nyo naman kanina yung mechanism ng split and splitless. So, class, ito pa ibang criteria nila. Meron akong gustong i-highlight here. So, for split, there's high flow rate. For splitless, low flow rate. So, nakita nyo class kanina yung effect, no? Doon sa may peak niya. Now, for split, suitable ito for relatively high concentration samples. Kaya ito class, kailangan yung sample ninyo, madami yung naman niya na analyte. Okay? Kasi maraming napupunta class, discard lang no, na sample. Thus, this cannot be used for trace analysis. So, dito tayo sa splitless, suitable naman to class for low concentration samples and commonly pang trace analysis siya. So class, it depends pa rin kung ano yung type ng sample ninyo, ano yung concentration ng analyte, and ito ba ay trace analysis. Okay? So yan class, yan ang split versus splitless. Aside from these two, meron pang iba, pero less common compared ka sa dalawang ito na ways on how to introduce the sample. Next, number 4 na part, oven. This is where our column is contained. The oven is precisely controlled para class yung temperature nito, no, involves ang temperature for optimal separation. It either operates class in isothermal mode, ibig sabihin isothermal lang yung sa FICAM, constant temperature, or ikaw ay magpe-perform ng temperature programming mode. So class, with temperature programming, ito ay ibig sabihin merong increase, no, merong gradual increase ng temperature during the run. This improves the separation of compounds with wide boiling point ranges. It reduces the tension times and sharpens peaks, however, can cause long-term damage to the column due to high heat. Okay? Meron tayong sample class manual natin ng mga results ng mga chromatogram ng mga linear alkanes at 3 different heating rates in a 3-meter long column. So as you can see class, na-resolve sila no, completely from C5 to C15, number of carbons yan, at a rate of 20 degrees Celsius per minute. Pero nung sobrang bilis, 40, 60 per minute, hala, magkakadikit guys yung kanilang peaks. Okay? So in-optimize mo pa kasi. So after optimization, saka mo makikita ano kaya ang magandang run for the complete, okay, for the complete separation of your analyte. So in this case, looks good. Itong 20 degrees Celsius per minute. Alright, next. So we are now at the 5th component, or recap. Ano yung 4 components na nauna before this? So we have carrier gas, your mobile phase, next is your column, and then plus ang sample injector. How do you introduce your sample? And the oven. So the 5th part, detector. So class, an ideal detector should be sensitive, selective, stable, and compatible with various analytes and carrier gases. Tandaan, compatible dapat ang carrier gas, ang mobile phase, to your detector. Your detector should provide fast response, a wide linear range, and reproducible results without affecting the sample flow. So class, key lesson din ito. Marami kasing GC detector. So you should know ano kayang samples, ano kayang analytes ang bagay suited for each detector. So class, meron tayo comparison here in your manual. So FID, TCD, ECD, o di ba mga acronyms. Mamit, kailangan ba basahin namin to? Yes. Class sa board exam, lagi talagang may question. Usually packaged as a scenario, as a case. Okay? Para class, madetect nyo kung ano ba ang bagay na detector for each case. So class, please please make sure na follow nyo ako ha. Reading homework nyo to. Okay? Kasi kung hindi kayo familiar sa mga to, now it's the best time to learn about them. So ang pinaka-general ay FID and TCD. Kaya class, ang kanilang common application, general purpose use, and yung kanilang sensitivity low. Kasi kahit kahit anong component pwede dito sa mga dalawang detector na to. Now, if you move on to ECD, selective siya class for halogenated and nitro groups. Bakit kaya? Because these groups are considered electronegative. Of course, specific din. Itong nitrogen, phosphorus or thermionic specific detector. Bagay na bagay for nitrogen and phosphorus containing compounds tulad na ng mga drug residues, pesticides, and explosives. Mass spec, of course, no? Ganda ng mass spec. Highly sensitive and specific and able structural identification. Then we have PID na selective for aromatics and unsaturated compounds, mga nag-absorb ng UV, flame photometric FPD, specific naman to class for sulfur and phosphorus containing compounds. O, di ba? Di naman ganun kahirap class. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 detector. Kayang-kaya nyo yan. So, reading homework. Pero bago yan, make sure class na kaya nyo rin sagutan to. Okay? Meron tayong mission, detect. I hope class kilala niyo pa si Detective Conan. So, our instruction here, determine the most suitable GC detector for each case. Okay, game ha? Okay, game. Ito class, meron tayo here na 7 magkakaibang cases and I will give you time. Syempre, i-pause nyo para malaman nyo, para makapag-answer muna kayo class before we reveal the best detector. Okay, promise ha, ipapause nyo. Alright, kung okay na-pause nyo na. So class, let's answer the following with the best detector. First case, find tiny amounts of pesticides containing chlorine or halogens in water. Oh, mamich electronegative. Correct answer, ECD. Measure hydrocarbons and alcohol in a fuel mixture. Syempre, FID. Kasi nga, general for organic compounds. Nitrogen containing drug chemicals. Syempre, nitrogen dapat specific for nitrogen. So that's NPD, aka TSD. Measure volatile aromatic compounds. Diba? Meron tayong PID na selective for aromatic compounds. Identify unknown chemicals in a complex mixture. Syempre, class, kailangan mo na mas makapangyarihan na detector, kaya mass spec. And then, of course, itong second to the last component natin, analyze permanent gases like oxygen and nitrogen na gas trap. So, medyo general siya. Kaya TCD lang. And then, pag sulfur containing, flame photometric, FPD. Okay? So, class, sana makatulong sa inyo ha. Itong mga pinapakita kong activity para sa inyo. Kanina meron tayong what happened chroma. Ngayon, mission, detect. Yan. Sana, class, makahelp yan for you to really understand yung iba't ibang uses ng mga detectors. Yay! Okay guys, medyo mahaba kayong lesson, di ba? So tayo ay nasa third chapter na ng ating crash course video, ang liquid chrom. Class, mas mahaba talaga yung GC kasi mas marami yung components na critical for gas chromatography. Here in LC, almost same din naman class yung principle. However, minus nyo ang carrier gas at ang oven na umiinit. Okay, so here, we will talk about types of liquid chrom first before tayo mag-dive into instrumentation. So class, meron mo tayong video clip. I think somewhere in the middle, iko-cut ko na lang siya kasi medyo mahaba para ma-arouse ang yung interest on liquid chromatography. Alright, last pinos ko na ha. We already saw the detector. So that particular oven from Thermo Scientific has an oven. Though it's not like the oven in GC na talagang may heating. So class, para lang makip yung column into a very stable temperature. Then nakita niyo class ang kanyang detector chamber. Kasi in-stock ko na. So feel free to visit the video sa YouTube, guys, kung gusto niyo panoorin siya ng buo. Kasi medyo mahaba na siya. So class, we are now in liquid chrome. Liquid chrome separates analytes by passing a liquid phase through a column containing a stationary phase. Ayan. So class, kailangan ninyong makita ang difference ng gas chrome from a while ago here sa liquid chrome. Kanina, ang mobile phase, gas, carrier gas. Here, our mobile phase, liquid. And class, here in this video, you can see na the analytes are being separated. Ayun, oh, meron na rin chromatogram. Okay? So class, you would find na yung mga types ng liquid chrome, sila rin yung kanina na 5 types ng chromatography based on separation principle. So don't worry, we will not repeat na yung activity kanina kasi yun na yun. Yun na rin yung basic info on the different types of liquid chrome. Meron na tayong mga selected na i-emphasize na parts here sa iba't ibang types ng liquid chromatography. Tulad na lamang class ng ion exchange. Ito na nga yung perfect time to differentiate cation and an ion exchange. Pag cation exchange chromatography, your goal is to separate cations. Example, metal ions, amino acids, especially kung charged sila class, and proteins. Marami tayong proteins na charged. Ang stationary phase class, negatively charged groups. Example, sulfonic acid. Okay, so ano mangyayari, ma'am? Siyempre class negatively charged yan, di ba? Yung ating column. So ang magbabind dito, positive species. So ma-match kapag cation exchange column, ang magbabind sa column ay cations. Ang unang ma-elute, anions, yes. Okay, ganun na nga. And on the other hand, pag an ion exchange ang column class, the column has stationary phase na positive ang charge, katulad na lamang ng quaternary ammonium. So ma'am, kapag an ion exchange column, ang magbabind sa column ay anions. Ang unang ma-elute, cations. Ganun na nga. So kailangan nyo class maalala yan ha, yung difference of cation and an ion exchange bilang ito ay laging present sa boards natin. Now, may ako tayong video for you guys to understand paano ma'am nasa-separate yung mga charge species. Everybody? Tsaka gusto ko i-analyze yung class ako ng type ng column ko. You have two options, cation or anion.
Ion exchange chromatography is a method used to separate or concentrate biomolecules based on their charge. The stationary phase of an ion exchange column is a matrix which consists of insoluble charged polymers that contain loosely held ions that are exchangeable with the target molecule. The charge of the target molecule, which is pH dependent, determines the type of matrix used. At pH 7, cytochrome C has an overall positive charge. Therefore, cation exchange chromatography is used to target this protein. In today's lab, the cation exchange chromatography procedure will involve resin equilibration, sample application to the resin collection, and finally, elution of cytochrome C. Resin equilibration. Cation exchange resin beads are equilibrated using 2 washes of 0.1 molar sodium phosphate buffer at pH 7. Sample application to the resin. The negatively charged resin will bind cytochrome C while the sodium counter ions are displaced. In this way, cytochrome C is concentrated on the resin. Resin collection. The resin is collected into a syringe column and non-bound substances drain out of the column. Elution of cytochrome C. To elute cytochrome C from the column, a buffer solution with a higher concentration of sodium ions, 0.8 molar sodium chloride, is used. The increased ionic strength of the solution will result in sodium replacing cytochrome C on the column.
Alright, o class, nakita niyo ha. So in the video, it was cation exchange column. So positively charged ang cytochrome C, yung gino-goal niya na ma-separate. O diba, very good. Now you understand why it's called ion exchange chromatography. Now we move on to another size exclusion chromatography. The separation occurs as a sample passes through a column packed with porous beads. Diba class, meron tayong nakitang video kanina. So let's recall that the larger molecules are eluted first. Why? They cannot enter the pores of the beads, while the smaller ones can penetrate, they can pass through the pores and elute later. So class, we have 2 types. So commonly, ginagawa ang gel filtration chromatography in biochem experiments for protein purification and enzyme studies. On the other hand, may isa pa, gel permeation chromatography, which is more used for polymer analysis, plastic and rubber industries. So ngayong class, nabibigyan natin ng emphasis sa iba't ibang types ng liquid chromatography. Now, let's look into a video of gel filtration chrom. Actually, medyo kamukha din to class ng video clip kanina.
Separation in gel filtration chromatography is based on the differences in sizes from biomolecules as they pass through a column packed with a chromatographic medium, which is a gel. Molecules larger than the pores in the gel are unable to diffuse into the gel and are confined to the solution surrounding the beads. Molecules which range in size between the very big, excluded from the gel, and the very small can penetrate the pores to varying degrees based on their size. Access to the pores is limited by steric hindrance. If a molecule is smaller than the smallest of the pores in the gel, it will be able to enter the total pore volume.
Alright, yun na yun, di ba? So, ang bilis ng class, madali na kasi ang concept ng gel filtration or size exclusion chromatography. Now, for the last part, promise, last part na guys to ng ating crash course video, instrumentation. As you can see, may mga parts din naman na similar with GC. So here, we will just emphasize the key parts in liquid chromatography. So class, ito ang actual, isa mga actual na setup ng liquid chrome where ang kanyang detector ay UV vis. Okay, so class, baka medyo kamukha, similar sa nagamit nyo na before. Kasi sa lab namin, medyo kahawig nito, itong picture na to. Alright, so class, since meron nga mga parts na similar, i-emphasize na lang natin, para di na siya na mahaba yung lesson, yung mga key parts na unique kay liquid chrome. So una na dyan, ang guard column. Ang guard column is set between the injector and the analytical column. Ito class, ang purpose niya, actually, sacrificial lang siya para i-protect ang column from impurities in sample. So, maliit lang yan. Ito, medyo malaki lang yung picture, pero very small lang yan na part ng instrument. Ang guard column contains the same packing material and stationary phase as the analytical column. Pero, mas maliit, therefore, mas mura. So, because they are intended to be sacrificial, alay pala yan, guard columns are replaced regularly. Kasi guys, madaming impurities na dadaan sa column. Eh dahil ang expensive naman talaga ng analytical column, why not maglagay tayo ng pang-filter? O, diba? Para doon muna lahat ng impurities bago dumaan class inside the analytical column. Okay? Next, ang stationary phase in liquid chrome. So class, very popular ito sa board exam. Ang pinagkaiba ng normal and reverse. O hindi ibig sabihin ng normal and ng common, hindi guys. So kapag normal phase, ang polarity class ng stationary phase ay polar. Okay? Ito ay suitable for non-polar mobile phases, good for isomer separation. Kaso, ang mas common, yan no, most common, ay ang reverse phase na aaralin class natin kasi lagi lumalabas sa board exam. So class reading homework na to ha, itong ion exchange, size exclusion, chiral column. After all, yung dalawa na yan, ion exchange at size exclusion, nasa lesson na naman kanina. So magtanong, paano po naging reverse phase? Reverse means opposite, kabalik ka lang. Because here, the polarity of the stationary phase becomes non-polar to moderately polar. How? We will bind hydrocarbons tulad ng C18, C8, pwede ring phenyl, pwede ring cyano on the column. So class, meron tayong drawing na ganito sa manual, di ba? So imagine ito ang iyong silica particle inside the column. Di ba? Mga silica polar. Exactly. Silica is polar. But if we bond hydrocarbons tulad nito, C18, octadecyl bonded silica particle, then you render your silica, your stationary phase, non-polar. So ma'am, mag-spend ng time, more time with the stationary phase here, yung kapwa niya ng polar, exactly. O, diba? Mag-gets nyo kagad. So, the components that will spend more time, longer time with the stationary phase ay kapwa niya non-polar. And then, the more polar components will be eluted first along with the mobile phase. Ganyan ang mga tanungan class sa exam. O, diba? Kaya, dapat, di ka malilito, dapat alam nyo class, ang common na way on how to separate here in liquid chrome, ang stationary phase here ay reverse phase. Tandaan nyo yan. Alright, so ito class, practice tayo. Tingnan nyo ha, meron tayong dalawang components, green at saka pink. Yung component na nagsistay with stationary phase, yan, yung green, obviously, siya yung mas, ano kaya class, siya ba yung polar o non-polar? Mas nagstay, mas tumagal, nakapiling palalo ng stationary phase na non-polar. Syempre, non-polar din siya, okay? So less polar, itong green na dots, green na spheres, pero yung pink, nagmamadali, so na-elute na, yung plus ay sumama na with the mobile phase, okay? So class, syempre madali lang to, kasi dalawa lang yung component, pero paano pag sa exam, meron 3 or more, i-arrange nyo. That's why you also have to be knowledgeable class sa mga organic compounds, kasi iba-iba yung polarity nila, okay? So please, kailangan alam nyo class sa mga functional groups para alam nyo yung kanilang relative polarities. Yay! We now reach the detectors. Ma'am, ito ba ay kasing hirap? Kasing hirap, challenging. Kasing challenging po kanina nung pinagawa nyo sa GC detectors class. Medyo iba ang grupo ng mga LC detectors. The most common, the most widely used ay ang UV vis. It is sensitive. However, nag-require ng chromophore. Meaning class, nag-require siya ng component or moiety in the compound na nag-introduce class ng color kasi nga visible. Okay? Kung lalo na kung visible sa visible region. So this measures absorbance of UV, pwede naman, or visible light by analyte. So class, the rest here, lalo na yung MSO, very popular. So this will be your reading homework. Nasa manual nyo class, ang info on liquid chrome detectors. Alright? So 1A, answer nyo na ngayon ang practice na 7 and 8. So pakifollow ang time limits indicated in your questionnaires. And do not forget to submit. Okay, mag-submit po tayo ng answers through our practice test forms. Para class, may maibabalik kami sa inyo, may feedback kami mabibigay sa inyo. And do not forget to attend our live discussion. Alright?